Hey guys, welcome back to Boots and Bunny Homestead. We're inside Casey's kitchen today bringing you a special edition. This is a collaboration video done as we were invited to be a part of the Jam It Out June 2.0. So this is the second year of the Jam It Out June collaboration videos. We were invited to come back again by Tony at Kettle's Kitchen, which is also hosted by Blues Self-Reliance. So I thank you two for the invite. I will have the links down below. Stick around because there will be some drawings. I'll have the information below. Make sure you like this video and comment because there may be some giveaways from the comment picker. So make sure you leave a comment below. Share the video out if this may be interesting to someone else. So let's get started making our super unique jam recipe. Here it is. So guys, you may be wondering why this recipe is so unique. Well, I wanted to do something a little different than just your regular fruit jam. I wanted to do something a little different than your regular sugar and pectin recipe because there are lots of new people that are doing the jams and jellies, putting food on their shelves for their families, but they may be a little intimidated by using the pectin or Sure-Jell recipes and unsure of how the process goes. Well, this is going to simplify it. We've been making this since I was a little girl. It's very unique because the kids can put their own aspect into it and opt for something that they might like to try. So I encourage you to try all the different flavors because as you've seen, this is any flavored jam. Now, what do I mean by that? So there's very few ingredients. I believe there's only 3 ingredients in this recipe. And there's nothing particular you have to do. You don't have to let it hard boil. You don't have to time it. You don't have to do anything like that. Before you add the different ingredients and stuff, just throw it all together and let it cook. Let me show you what I mean. So this is actually a family friend recipe that, like I said, we've been doing since I was a little girl. And I remember the first time we ever tried it because there were so many options and I got so excited. I was probably 11 or 12 years old and I was so excited to try all the things, let me tell you. So you're asking, what can that be? Well, first of all, the recipe that comes from our family friend, it calls for an ice cream bucket full of figs. And then you peel the figs and you mash them down to about 4 cups of the meat. Well, I don't have any figs, so what I'm using is some thick applesauce that I made. This was back in 2019, and we are not big applesauce eaters around here, so I want to use this up and show you guys how to use it to make a jam. So with figs or pears or apples, they have their own pectin, so you don't have to necessarily use pectin in a recipe to get it thick. So with the recipe calling for figs, like I said, I'm substituting this applesauce. The only other 2 ingredients that we're going to use would be your choice of jello. And then I've got here 2 cups of sugar. Well, this is more than 2 cups, but sugar. So all it is, if you have figs, if you want to save this recipe for figs when they come to ripen, it says on here, pick an ice cream bucket full. Then you would peel them and you would pack it down to make 4 cups of just the fig meat. So for the substitute, I'm using this quart jar of applesauce. And then you want to use 1 box of your choice of any flavored 3-ounce jello. This is just the generic, just any kind of jello flavoring, whatever you want to make. And then, like I said, 2 cups of sugar. All we do is put it in a pot, which I'm going to do real quick. And then we need to boil it down for 10 minutes. see there, the little apple chunks looks like little pieces of strawberries. And the apples are going to absorb the flavor of the strawberry jello. I chose strawberry to do this one. Strawberry is just one of the most common jam whenever you think about, jams or jellies. Strawberry jam will be one of the first ones besides grape. But like I said, you can choose any of the jello flavorings. Side note, I have not attempted to do this with the sugar-free jellos. And if you try it and you want it a little more sweet, you can also add up to another cup of sugar. With this kind of recipe, it's not going to limit you to just the pectin recipes where you have X amount of your fruit or X amount of juice, and then you almost double the amount of sugar, and you have to boil it, and then you have to time it, and then you have to add the pectin. You have to, you don't have to worry about that process here. We are putting it all in together, lightly boiling it for 10 minutes because you don't want to, you don't want it to be like a rolling boil and burn it or anything. So we are just going to get this lightly heated to where it's going to boil, but not splash, because this is really thick. You don't want it to splatter. Just lightly boil. Once this comes to a boil, we're going to go ahead and put on our water bath back here in the back. Now, okay, little side note here. The original recipe where our family friend wrote this, it said once you, have your hot jars and your hot lids, and then after you boil it 10 minutes, you put it in the jars, leaving a 1/2 inch of headspace, and then you flip them upside down, leave them for 30 minutes, and then turn them over and they seal. You can do that if that is a method you choose to. But here on YouTube and part of this collaboration, I am doing it by guidelines, as in we are going to water bath this for 10 minutes just to keep out the confusion. Now, water bath, you do not have to have a pressure canner. I'm actually going to show you how to do it with a regular pot. You don't have to have any special equipment or anything like that. I'm going to show you a little trick here just to do it with a regular pot. It's looking really yummy. It looks just like mashed up strawberries, don't it? Looks just like mashed up strawberries. It smells so good. Okay, now we wait and get our water bath water ready. So whenever you are water bathing, you can use a regular deep pot. Now, I will say I have, and you can make your own decision on this, I have used a regular pot and filled it up as high as I could get it with the jars in it and put a lid on it. But that's totally up to you. But I have one here that's just a smaller ceramic pot that I'm going to use for this, because this is only going to make 3 pints. Now, I'm actually going to break it down to where it's going to be 6 half-pints and water bath it in the same pot here. Now, when you're water bathing or pressure canning, you cannot have your jars to touch the bottom. Now, you can do this several ways without having these special inserts or doing anything special. You can simply lay a towel in the bottom of your pot and then put your water in it, and then your jars can sit on the towel. You can also use your canning rings. If you have any extra, which we all do, you can use your canning rings and then put the closed side that has the flat side up with the open side down. That way, whenever your jars sit on top of them, they won't fall down in there because they can't touch the bottom. So if you flip them over, they can sit on top of the lids. Now, that's what I'm going to do today since I have you guys here with me. I actually cannot find my rubber insert that I put in mine. So I'm just going to put these down in the water here before it heats up. It doesn't matter. You want to try to fill it up as much as you can without them moving around. And then looks like I need to put one in the middle. Okay, so I'm actually making it look like a flower down in there, where it looks like that. And then that is simply going to be enough to keep the jars off the bottom, to where that way they don't break. All right, so our jelly is, or our jam is boiling now. Has been for a couple of minutes. So what I'm going to do is actually put my jars in this water so it can warm up. You can actually put them in the oven, or you can just put hot water in them and let them sit just, you know, right here on the stove or on the countertop close to where you're going to be using them. That way you've got to keep them warm, because we want everything the same temperature. So keep all of your food, jars, and water in your canner, whether it be a water bath canner or a pressure canner. You want it to be all the same temperature, so it can either all be hot together, or it can be cold and warm up together, if that makes sense. So while this is boiling, I've got to get my jars ready. Now with the ball Sure-Tight lids, which is what comes on the ball jars nowadays, it says Sure-Tight right there. They actually don't recommend you warming these up, because it kind of disintegrates or degrades the wax ring around the lid. So you don't have to heat those up anymore. But if you're old school and you still want to heat them up, that's quite fine. This is actually getting pretty thick. I've had to turn it down twice. It's boiling real nicely. Alright, it has been 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take it off the eye so it will quit popping while I am trying to fill my jars. Don't forget to take a wet paper towel and just wipe your lid off. My jar grabber is outside, so I'm just using my tongs here. Okay, so this one is not all the way full, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in here just to hold the space so the jars don't start falling over. Now you want your jars to have at least 1 to 2 inches of water over top of them, so that way the lids, rings, the jars, and everything gets cooked evenly from top to bottom. And then we start the timer for 10 minutes. So this is where you want to go ahead and clean up, because this stuff is going to get sticky. And if anybody knows anything about canning or preserving food, you definitely clean up as you go. And taste test. Got our jars out. So what we are going to do is let them slowly cool overnight. I'll have to bring you guys back tomorrow and show you the finished product. So right now we are putting these to bed for 24 hours, and I left about 1 inch space in between each jar. They're already sealing. In between each jar for airflow, and then put a towel over them to let them sit, because they need to cool down slowly so you don't risk either false seals or any of your jars breaking. So you want them to slowly and evenly cool down to room temperature, and then I'll bring you back here in just a second, which will be tomorrow, and show you what the finished product looks like. Good morning, lovelies. We are back, and I'm going to show you what our jam looks like. This is my first time seeing it. I have not peeked. So, okay, I'll get the one that wasn't quite full and show you guys. Ain't it pretty? Such a pretty color. Look at that. That's some pretty thick jam. Look at that. I will go ahead and open this for you guys so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to taste a little bit as well. Now, I was thinking last night as this was cooling off and everything, if you didn't want to use applesauce or figs or any kind of like pear or peach, I mean, I'm sure you can do peaches too. If you want to do like a strawberry peach, you could use peaches with the strawberry flavor, or you can do like a citrus and maybe do like peaches and oranges or something like that. I mean, you could get really funky with it, however you want to do this. Just make sure that all of your meaty fruits are pureed up. But if you just wanted to use strawberries, if you actually have strawberries available, you could go ahead and crush up your strawberries and then just use the strawberry jello and do it the same way that I did. Just make sure you have 4 cups of your fruit to 1 package of the jello, and then your 2 cups of sugar. And you could even go down on the sugar if you wanted to. You can make up a batch and see how it is. If you don't like it, you could give it out to family, friends. You could sell it, and then you could do another one and decrease the sugar. That's the importance I wanted to stress on this, is that the sugar content in it is not the pectin activator that you would use in like Sure Gel. With like Sure Gel or like Pomona's pectin, you have to have a certain amount of sugar to activate the certain amount of pectin that they use in those recipes, whereas this you don't, because this is gelatin and not pectin. Now, if you wanted to do something a little bit different, instead of getting like the Jello packs, you could research into how to use it in using beef gelatin. Now, beef gelatin powder is actually a cold gelatin and not a hot gelatin. There is a difference. So if you were to look into using maybe something like beef gelatin in, say, raw strawberries after you smashed them up, you would actually do that cold and then heat it up instead of doing it all together boiling. If you heat up beef gelatin before it's dissolved in something cold, it does clump up. So that would be another alternative. Instead of using pectin, is to use a beef gelatin, which would actually be healthier. But this is something everybody can do. It is super available everywhere. You can buy it, just at any stores. Just a regular pack of Jello, and you don't have to go by all the rules and regulations and have to time it this long and do it this long, and you don't have all the rules in the recipe to follow. Throw it all together, 10 minutes, boom, you're done. But here is what it looks like. It's pretty thick. It's staying on there pretty well. Super, super thick. It's a pretty color too. Alright, so let's try it real quick. Not that I don't already know what it tastes like, because we used to make this. I've never made it with applesauce. And it definitely has the texture of the applesauce. Eating it by itself, it is like a really thick strawberry applesauce. Now, when you put these on biscuits, you wouldn't notice the applesaucey texture. But like I said, I've never made this with applesauce, so this was my first time trying it with this. It does still work. But if you wanted to use something that was a little more smooth rather than kind of grainy like applesauce, you could use, like I said, figs is the original recipe. which that actually does make it a lot smoother. I remember when I was little, us making this a lot, and of course we use figs because Daddy has a fig tree. One of these days when I have a fig tree, then I will do it with figs too. But yeah, with pears or peaches or anything like that, where it can be a lot smoother, or you could chunk it up. Instead of it being just pureed like applesauce, you could leave it a little more chunky, and you would still get the same effect. But you could have so much fun with the different flavors in Jello. You could mix combinations. You could do a double batch and do 2 packs of Jello. You could do like a strawberry orange or strawberry peach, or peaches and orange, or lime or lemon, or whatever's out there. Right? There's so many choices of Jello packets out there that you could do. So guys, I hope this inspires you to go out and start making your own jam. Let me know if you have ever made this. I want to see if anybody else has ever done this, because like I said, a family friend gave us this recipe, and God, we hadn't done this in probably 20 years or so. This is 20 years ago is actually whenever we started doing it, but we've used the pectin and the real fruits that we actually grow for so long. I haven't done this, and I almost forgot about it until this collaboration video. And I'm like, what about those people that don't have the fruit, or that don't understand how to use the pectin? How can I make it easier for them to make their own on the shelf? So guys, I hope you like this video. Let me know down below what would be some cool combinations and what you have in mind to try. Let me know if you're going to try it. I think it's a pretty fun idea, especially with kids. Now, one disclaimer, if I remember right, the blue Jello didn't turn out exactly like the flavor of the Jello. There was something different about it. Try it and let me know if your kids like the blue Jello. Try to make the blue jam. I don't remember what flavor it is. It's like triple berry or maybe blue raspberry or something like that. It was something a little different about the blue pack. I will give that little disclaimer, but it's been like 20 years since we made that one, and at the time we didn't like that one. I do remember that. Try it and see, and let me know how we do. I may bring some more of these recipes back to you guys, and share some more things like this and what combinations we can do and all that good stuff. So hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to comment below. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have tons of information to share with you guys, and there will be giveaways. I will post the information down below. All of the collaborators that are in this collaboration will be linked below. The giveaway dates and where to find those lives, the playlist, everything is going to be listed down below. I thank you for the invite for Tony and Blue Self-Reliance. Thank you for allowing me to do this again this year, and I can't wait till next year. Go check out everybody else's videos, and we'll see you later, guys. Bye.